Kim Malcolm stepped in this week to replace Michael Shames as Executive Director of the Utilities Consumers Action Network. UCAN has been racked by internal fighting and accusations of embezzlement in recent months. Malcolm is here to talk to me about the future of UCAN. You're coming in at a tumultuous time for UCAN. There's an FBI investigation. 2 staffers made some serious allegations against the former Executive Director, Michael Shames, about financial dealings. How do you plan to repair the organization?
Well, thank you, Mita. As you know, UCAN has a wonderful reputation with state regulators and with the San Diego community. We want to build on UCAN's good reputation, its litigation skills, the work it's done for the last 30 years in the community, helping clients and customers with their bills and their services. So that's my job right now, is to build on that and to get by the lawsuits and the allegations.
What is Michael Shames' relationship to UCAN right now? Is he still somehow connected to the organization that he basically helped found?
Yes, definitely. Michael has stepped down as Executive Director. He's still employed by UCAN as an attorney and will continue to work on the Public Utilities Commission cases with San Diego Gas and Electric. And we're working out a future working relationship with Michael, who's been such an asset to UCAN for so many years.
As you know, San Diego Gas and Electric has an effort underway to charge customers for the 2007 uninsured wildfire costs as well as future uninsured wildfire costs. There were 2 public hearings held here in April, and there was a pretty huge uproar about it. Almost 1,000 customers showed up to protest this at the combined hearings. What do you think of this proposal?
Well, in my experience at the PUC, it would be unprecedented for the Commission to allow a utility to recover costs retroactively for damages related to an event for which it had liability. And it would be very unusual. So, and I don't think it would be in consumer interests, and I don't think it would send the right signal to the utility for its future operations and maintenance of its system.
Now, you worked at the California Public Utilities Commission for 20 years as an administrative law judge.
Yes.
You were also chief of staff for a commissioner. There is a perception among some people that the PUC is not serving the interests of customers, but rather the utilities. What do you think of that perception?
I think the Commission has a lot of very talented and dedicated staff. I think that the people who make the decisions there are very well-meaning. I think it's up to organizations like UCAN to present the facts and the analysis and advocate on behalf of consumers and the environment. Right now, I think there are a lot of opportunities because our governor has just appointed 3 very committed, very smart, and very knowledgeable commissioners who seem to care very much about consumers. So UCAN will be doing a lot more litigation up there in the future on behalf of San Diego Repairs.
So these 3 appointees have served 1 year so far. How do you feel about how they voted?
Well, honestly, I've been running a nonprofit in Berkeley that didn't follow regulation so much. I hear very good things about the work they're doing, the initiatives they're taking, and the public policies they have committed themselves to.
Kim Malcolm, thank you for speaking to us
today.
Thank you.